Hello and welcome back to the Retail Podcast. Now, today we're going to take a slight detour from our traditional focus on retail technology and what's going on in the world of retail, customer experience, data and AI, and actually look at product. I'm joined by Liam White. Dr. Wills, who Liam is the CEO of and co-founder of, are basically a condiment business. But they're probably one of the fastest growing condiment businesses in the UK, if not the fastest growing. And they are already available in grocers such as Tesco's. But this isn't about condiments. This is about our lives, about sugar, about sustainability, about B Corp. But Liam, before we get into all of that, I'd love to sort of unpack who you are, how you got here. And actually to help us, what I'm doing, we're launching a retail news website, and it's retailnews.ai, and it'll be launched somewhere in the summer. And what we're doing is using obviously AI to produce the content and all the other things. So I asked the AI to give me a view of you. So I'm hoping this is in light. So let me read it to you. And actually the first part talks about Dr. Wills, UK's first all-natural condiment brand. And this says, Liam, the co-founder and CEO of Dr. Wills, introduced the brand as a maker of naturally sweet and delicious products that demonstrate superiority of natural sugar sources over artificial alternatives. And actually, really topical because that was in the news this week with one of the major beverage companies being infected with the use of the artificial sweetener in one of their products. But let's get down to who you are. Sorry, I got it wrong. It's available at Tesco's, Waitrose, Ocado, Holland and Barrett, and independent farm shops and delis up and down the countries. But here you are. Liam's professional background includes JP Morgan, McKinsey, Credit Suisse, Rothschild, and a testimonial on your page. Praises Liam's passion for his day. It's like, it's funny. But anyway, your passion in bringing innovative and healthy products to market. So how do you go from banking to making a better eating environment for the UK population?
Yeah, it's probably not the most traditional journey. Interestingly, there's a surprising number of like ex-investment banking food founders in the UK. I've come across a handful when I've been at kind of networking events and things like that. So although it sounds like a very odd, non-traditional journey, there are a few others doing it. I started my career after a series of internships at JP Morgan. So I was an analyst there in investment banking, which is a pretty tough working environment. You work really hard, lots of hours, like really interesting place to work. But I quickly realized that I was quite entrepreneurial. I've always had aspirations to run my own business, and I also like working in kind of larger companies is quite hierarchical, and it takes a long time to kind of work your way up. And I wanted to kind of move a bit quicker than that if I could. My mum is a food writer, so there's some personal inspiration there. And so I kind of grew up like surrounded by lots of good food and interested in what's on the supermarket shelves, but also in kind of restaurants and kind of innovative cuisine. And then a couple of years into the banking journey, I met Will and Josh, who are my business partners, who had the idea for essentially a healthier range of condiments. So we were looking at the market and seeing that everything was getting healthier. So if you look at snacks, we were going from crisps and chocolate to protein bars and popcorn and grays with nuts, things like that. And then there was also this whole craft scene that was going wild. So craft beers and gin distilleries popping up all over the place. Fever Tree doing an amazing job with the mixers. And we just kind of realized that people were trying to make their plate as healthy as possible. But we're sort of unaware of just, they're adding the same condiments they've added for years and years. And often they're loaded with sugar, and we just thought we could do a better job, but equally use the best quality ingredients and make them really, really tasty at the same time. That's the purpose of a condiment. And that was, back in 2017 when we started our journey.
Oh, fantastic. And I assume you're Forbes 30 under 30. Are you still under 30?
I'm 30, so yeah. Thankfully, you keep it even when you get a bit older. So they don't just
30 under 30. Well, actually no, under 30 and 30. Anyway,
I was 28 when I got it. Yeah.
Okay, all right, that explains it. If you were able to go back to younger self and have a chat with him to help him get to where you are now, what would you like to say to him? What would you say to him?
Yeah, I think I think you often get really caught up in the minutiae of your day to day, and problems that are absolutely problems and things that are big challenges for you at that time. Undoubtedly will get solved. And when you kind of zoom out, I think sometimes you get hung up on quite small things, and I think I would just try and just enjoy every each phase of my life. And everybody says to you, when you're at university, someone a few years older says, these might be the best things of your life, enjoy them and all that kind of stuff. And you sort of listen to them and sort of nod along, but often you don't really take in that stuff. And I think I would just, try and listen to that advice as much as possible, and just, just enjoy every stage of the journey for what it is. And not get too hung up on kind of where you're headed and things like that. I think if you work hard and you have a bit of a plan, those things can fall into place. And I think lots of us are sometimes like too guilty of being like really, really obsessed with, obsessive with kind of.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely. In terms of putting that in terms of, and obviously you're just 30, right? So I don't want to, you're like, the guest that I just recorded an interview with was obviously in his 50s. And so, there's that journey. And I think it's important to reflect on that. It is a journey that people are on. But I'm curious from a business perspective, raising capital, doing everything. What are the lessons that you've learned? Because you've done the biggest, you've jumped that biggest hurdle. You funded, you're in shops. You had to go through so much pain to get to that. Well, what for you were the major milestones or hurdles that you had to get over?
Yeah, lots of them.
And that's not to say that there's not another new set of hurdles that you've got to get over.
Yeah, no, there will be for sure. I think something I was guilty in the early stages of. So I speak to my FD quite a lot, who's a bit more experienced and has, he's in his 50s, if not 60s, and has seen a lot more than I have. And I'd sort of say, just need to get through this stage and then we'll be okay. And he'd say, we do need to get through this stage, but then there'll be another challenge. And he's absolutely right. You think that you've got the early challenges now, but there will be different and bigger challenges in the future. I think if you break it down, I think launching the product at the very start will be the first thing. So finding a manufacturer and creating a commercially available product. I guess.
Is it manufactured in the where is the product manufactured?
Yeah, in the UK.
Okay.
In the UK. So about an hour and a half outside London, your facility there. All in the UK. Getting our product made, raising funds, I'd say, and then getting on to sort of launching initially into like delis and farm shops, and kind of smaller retailers, then getting into a few kind of prestigious places like Selfridges that really kind of started to open doors for us. And then going on to the, starting to work with the big grocers, so the likes of Tesco, Waitrose, Ocado, those kind of guys. Then those are some of the steps, but there's been, millions on the journey, lots of, building our product range. So starting from, basically ketchup and barbecue sauce at the start through to a much fuller range of products now that span kind of ketchup, mayonnaise, hot sauce, dressings. There's been, tons of learnings and tons of like little milestones along the way. And I think it's important to celebrate those because you're always going to have more challenges, whatever stage you're at. And you've got to kind of celebrate the wins as you go. And it's all too easy to, achieve something that you have been working on for ages. And, maybe a month or a year ago, you'd have been over the moon to have achieved that. Yeah. But you can get kind of drawn into the next, just the next challenge and often forget that.
No, that's true. In terms of the culture that you're building, obviously I watched one of the adverts that you've got out there and it was very sort of, fun. In that sense, as CEO, what type of culture are you looking to build?
Yeah, it's really important to us to have a fun culture, trying to build a brand that people want to buy, but also that people want to work for. So we just try and be quite modern with how we do things. So I mean, we've got you can look at our brand, and we're the only guys that have pink ketchup. We have a massive exclamation mark in front of the bottle, and it's sleek, and we're trying to make a beautiful brand, but at the same time, we're trying to do things a bit differently, and we're pretty unashamed about that. And we are,
this is what you're talking about, right?
That's pink ketchup. Yeah, exactly. And like the kind of the reason for that is we were, looking at ketchup, which is a ubiquitous product. Lots of people are pretty much sleepwalking down the supermarket aisle to go and grab their favorite brand of ketchup that they've bought for years and years. Or to buy a supermarket own label product. and we have to stand out. So everybody has pretty much a white label, and we decided to do a pink label, and the exclamation mark is all around kind of like stop and think. Think both about kind of sugar, but also about your condiments, about quality, about sustainability, everything. It's just that big kind of exclamation mark, and then we use the different point on every product. So we've got the tomato on the ketchup, and then an egg for the mayonnaise, and things like that. Chili on the hot sauces. So trying to keep it fun and playful, but have something that people want to have on their table. And then from a culture point of view in the business, we're just normal people, and I think like there's so much formality in business that some of it is required, but some of it really isn't. So we just have honest conversations with people. We try and just treat people like people, and just have try and be as straightforward as you can be. Trust people to get the work done, and not be too sort of overbearing.
Yeah, I got you. One of the things that was really interesting in terms of your approach, you're a young company, but you went for B certification already. How, and I know there's a lot of greenwashing that happens. What's your honest take in terms of the sustainability elements, and how, because I noticed again on the website, and I'll bring it up about recycling and being, I'm just curious about how that measures within your part of your culture and the organization.
Yeah, definitely. So it's really important to us. So we decided quite early to go for certification to become a B Corp, because I think it's a B Corp essentially is a commitment to better business. So you're committing to, we're absolutely a for-profit business. We're not, we're not charity, but you're committing to balance profits and purpose. So you're not forgoing one for the other. And essentially it's a commitment from our side to do everything to try and do better business, and sustainability is one angle of it, but it's also doing right by your customers and by your staff, and that kind of anchors every decision we make in the business. And then from a sustainability point of view, you're absolutely right, there is a lot of greenwashing out there, so we just try and to be clear, we're far from perfect. It's a journey that we're on, and I think we've done some things really well. There's lots of like small things that layer up, and I'm a big believer in that. It's quite rare that there's like a silver bullet that kind of fixes everything, but quite often it's just it's like a series of good choices. So we just we use glass but for a lot of our products, and then we use squeezy, like a plastic squeezy bottle, but we've ensured that it's fully recyclable. The lids are also recyclable. We're moving to labels that are fully compatible, so that they can all go in the same recycling stream. So we just try to make all the right choices from like a packaging point of view. But also like trying to figure out what's the next thing, because the stuff that we have now is really good for what is on the market, but also we're looking at kind of big innovation, and is there things like sugarcane packaging, and there's all sorts of interesting things out there. So we're absolutely like keeping abreast of all of that stuff and trying to make sure that we're just always thinking ahead with sustainability, and trying to have the a robust like sustainable supply chain.
What surprised you when you were going through the creation? Because I noticed you guys did some research in terms of how much sugar was in other products and the impact. Your source of sugar is through dates only, or do you use other sources of sweetness?
Yeah, so dates primarily. So if you take ketchup, for example, you like there's a bit of sugar in tomato, for example. So you'll get a little bit of the sugar will come from like a tomato or from an onion, like natural sources, but they all come from natural fruit sources. So yeah, we have used agave as well, like in our sweet chili product. But we try and use natural sugar sources. So it's basically dates and tomatoes where the sweetness comes from in our ketchup. And then just use less of it. That's the other thing. So it's one thing to use natural sugars, but also we just try and use like a sensible amount. So I think if you mentioned sugar crimes, I think you look at barbecue sauce, and like I'm not going to sort of mention any particular brand, because it's pretty much across the board. Like there are if you turn the product around, like frequently there are products that have 50% sugar, 35% sugar, 40% sugar, and it's just, you don't need that much sugar. And if you think about it, if you put like a serving a few dollops of ketchup might be 30, 40 grams, 20 grams of sugar, and it's just it's not then you have a few more dollops, and like you're not far off a can of Coke. But if you have a can of Coke, at least you kind of you're constantly making a decision to have a sugary beverage, right? Whereas it's sort of hidden in a sauce. So that's the
kids. That's the thing that gets me as a dad. and, you know, two boys, I'm constantly, especially with ketchup, because that's the example you guys used, or Dr. Will, who's an actual doctor, he uses that, you know, he was using ketchup on the vegetables, which I think all parents do. And then all of a sudden you look at the label and it's not only the forget the sugar, I can live with sugar. It's all the E numbers that then follow the things. And you're like, oh man, it's, especially in cereals. But that, again, I know you're not in cereals business, but there's got to be a better way. There's got to be another way.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's and that's what we're trying to do. Like it's you know, we keep it really simple. So we use dates rather than like lots of like white refined sugar, and then we just use less of it. And in doing that, we think, you know, there's still some sweetness in the product. Absolutely, that's a key part of the flavor. And I think you could absolutely make like a 0 calorie, 0 sugar kind of product. But it, you know, probably wouldn't get very far. There are some on the market, but people are used to, you know, when you have a ketchup, you want to have some sweetness, you want to have some of that sort of vinegary punch. You want a little bit of salt, things like that. So we absolutely have those things. We're just trying to have it in sensible quantities, and then just use the best quality ingredients. So I think if you look at our product, you turn the pack round, everything that's in there are things that you'd have in your kitchen. So it's, you know, like if you look at our ketchup ingredients, it's like tomatoes, onions, dates, spices, that kind of thing. And it's just trying to use, like, you know, good quality, simple ingredients, and not pad out our products with, you know, lots of gums and thickeners and, like you said, E numbers, preservatives, all of that sort of stuff. You just don't need it. Like, you know, with a product that just has tomatoes, dates, and some vinegar and a little bit of salt, you get plenty of shelf life. There isn't any need to fill them with, you know, preservatives that you can't recognize.
Have you cracked the nut of making people care? Because I think that's one thing lots of brand companies play on, is the fact that the inertia of change and making that change. I'm just curious, from your research or from the work that you've done, making that a topic that's important, which it is for people's health and the consumer. Is there a secret, or is there a way of bringing that to life?
It's a great question. I think, have we cracked the nut? I think we are getting people to care. I think we need to get lots more people to care. So we're on that journey. I think lots of people really resonate with our brand, and they, you know, they want a healthier option, but equally they want great tasting condiments. And I think what we're trying to do is not compromise. So I think if you do compromise, again, and we were guilty of this at the start, we were trying to make, you know, a product that was so low in sugar that it didn't deliver on flavor, and it tasted, you know, too different, and you know, didn't quite have the balance that you expect in a ketchup. Now I think we've got to a stage where we have products that really do deliver in their own right. Like, we're not saying they're good for a healthy ketchup. Like, these are, like, our products are delicious, and they've won great taste awards, and I'm really passionate about making products that just taste great and always happen to be healthier.
I'm curious on where you go from here, Liam, in terms of, you've had so much success, but there's so much more to do in terms of growth of the company. What's top of mind for you? Is that the key driver for the next sort of 18 to 12 months for you?
I think, you know, we're a few years in, but we're very much on this path to trying to disrupt the condiments industry. So we're at a stage where we're in lots of the kind of major retailers in the UK in particular, and we also export to a few markets around the world. And now the next challenge for us is just taking on, you know, scaling it up to the next level, and taking on some of these big brands that have been around for years and years, and just trying to essentially offer, you know, a healthier but great tasting product to more people. So it's kind of scaling up that you know, distribution, but also just awareness. So trying to get our product out to as many people as we possibly can. And we know that, you know, when people try our products, they love them. So the big challenge is getting them into as many people's hands and their mouths as possible.
Yeah, I'm as I keep going back to, as a father, this makes so much sense for me. It just takes away the guilt and pain of not giving them what they want, but giving them what they want with something that's better for them. It's really great to find a passionate group of people that genuinely want to change the way that we eat for better, and who also care about the world and environment that they live in and we live in as well. I think these are really important sort of pillars, if you like, of business today. Liam, with all of that, I want to thank you for giving up your time. And Where can people find out more about your business? Are you on all the social channels?
Yeah, we're on all the social channels. So our website, dr-wills, wills.com, Instagram at Dr. DOCTOR _ Wills, WILLS. And then, yeah, that's kind of where you can find us.
Are you doing D2C at the moment?
Yes, yeah, we do. So you can buy our products on our website.
Okay, cool.
We're on Amazon as well. And then like in the UK, lots of retailers and also in sort of select parts of Europe, Middle East, Asia as well.
That's fantastic. Liam, thank you so much.
Thanks very much, Alex.
Thanks.